Oh yeah, I'm real bad. I'm real bad about them too. No, it's fine. I'll just do it right here.
Yeah, so that should be good. I'm never really good at starting these things, so I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce you. So,
Okay.
welcome to the Scrap Table Podcast. We're here with local star Michael Smallwood.
Hi,
Mike.
hello.
Do you even like people calling you Mike?
Oh, I don't care. Most people, I don't care. You can call
Okay.
me Mike if you want.
Because I want to say Mike. I don't. Michael. Hey, so Michael.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just too long.
Very few people actually do call me Mike.
really.
I have like maybe
So
one or
I
two
feel
people who
I
do
feel
it.
like I should call you Mike.
You can do it. That's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate.
I don't have a
that.
problem with that.
I really do.
Well, that was definitely an opener there.
Yeah, that's totally
I think I'm
fine.
gonna stick with Michael Smallwood. I kind of feel like it's your IMDb name.
That's also
So-
fine. I have friends who call me
Smallwood.
I have a friend who calls me Michael Smallwood every time she talks to me.
The full thing.
Whole thing.
It just makes sense, dude.
I
In
love
our
it.
industry,
You like it?
It's really charming that she does it. It's really
Okay,
funny to me.
okay.
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you rather Michael Smallwood?
I don't care.
I'm gonna call you Mike.
Yeah, that's fine.
Iron Mike.
I'm flexible.
Not Iron.
Not
No iron.
I don't know. Really, the thing that I like, the thing that always gets me, I'm always like, "Oh, chill out," is when people are like my students will do that too. They'll be like, "He's a celebrity." I'm like, "Chill out, guys.
yeah, calm down.
Calm down."
I still gotta pay
celebrity.
bills.
I mean, hey, you.
Minor celebrity, D-list celebrity.
It doesn't matter. You're still on the list, right?
I'll take me on one of the lists. I
Okay.
do appreciate that.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Okay.
But I do downplay that a lot. I'm like, whoa, I can go to the grocery store, guys. We're cool.
So on the celebrity topic, a lot of people know you from Halloween Kills,
Woo.
right? Are you on the second one too? Also,
I'm in Halloween 2018,
Yep.
and I'm in Halloween Kills.
What is
I'm
life like
briefly in
that?
Halloween Ends. What is
After-
life like after
Yeah,
that?
yeah, because you do some of the Comic-Con type stuff
I
for
do
the
some
Halloween.
conventions. That's very surreal because as a nerd who goes to conventions, as somebody who spent many years at Dragon Con getting autographs from capital C celebrities, it is very weird sometimes to be seated at a table on the other
And then-
side of it. It's very strange.
What's Dragon Con?
Dragon Con's this huge everything convention down in Atlanta every year.
Okay.
It's like
Anime film.
anime film, comic books, TV, it's everything. It's a big cosplay convention. Like people go,
Gotcha.
that's why my wife and I started going because we do cosplay and we were like, it's huge. I think the last big one they had before the pandemic was 75,000 people.
Wow.
That's cool.
And it takes place over 4 hotels, and they have all sorts. I met Malcolm McDowell there. I met Giancarlo Esposito there. I've met the cast of Telltale's The Walking Dead games, and there's all sorts of people who go to that thing.
Were you a part of the I don't think it was a Comic-Con, but it was kind of like a convention that came here in November. There was a Comic-Con here.
Oh yes, there was. I was not a part of that one. The last convention I did last year, there was a big Halloween 45 anniversary
Okay.
event out in Sacramento, and I went to that.
I love the convention, things like that, man. I'm a huge trading card guy.
Sure,
And,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I and D&D, so I love stuff, the nerdy stuff that I call my secret pleasures that I don't have. I have no friends that are involved in this stuff, but I'm just I still love it.
Those are my out
childhood.
loud pleasures. I tell everyone that I'm into that.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I'm pretty sure I've got D&D tonight.
Oh, dude, I'm just gonna have to
pretty
figure out when y'all get an opening and figure this out, fit it into my schedule.
I keep saying that I'm gonna run a game. I've never actually run a game. I've only played. But at some point I want to start running a game.
So I heard that game never ends.
It does. It's just it can go on for a long time. It just depends on how often you meet.
It's campaigns, so
Yeah.
your campaigns
Yeah.
can end, but your characters, they can die and you have to start over. But
Yep, they sure
you
can.
we were talking earlier about film sets where you meet a lot of fun people. Dude, D&D is just like that.
Yeah.
Imagine just hanging out with 10 of your best friends, just laughing the whole time.
It's basically one person sitting around at a table telling a story, and then everyone else just you get to run your character through it, and you get to do whatever you want as long as the DM says you can do it, you can do it. So
Ironically, Dungeons and Daddies podcast is kind of a lot of inspiration off of this. I don't listen to many podcasts, but Dungeons and Daddies and My First Million are two of my favorite podcasts. So
I'm going to shout out a friend of mine who I did a movie with. Ryan LaPlante does a podcast called Dum Dums and Dragons that you might like. Is it
a D&D campaign?
It's a D&D
Oh, dude,
campaign. They're all nonsense characters.
where can we find it at?
And it's everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. It's like a top comedy podcast. Like he won some award last year. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he like it's a bunch of like improvisers and actors and stuff all doing this hilarious D&D. Like check it out. It's Dum Dums.
I think that would be great. A D&D campaign with just actors.
That's how a lot of the Let's Plays are. Yeah,
yeah, that would be
actors
awesome.
Who are like, yeah, we do improv. This is our first time doing D&D. That's why I got into it. It's like people were finally like, hey, it's the pandemic. You can't go anywhere and you don't have rehearsal. So you have time to do a campaign every week. And I was like, yes, I finally do. And I have not stopped.
Back on the acting. So what was, it's cliche. What's the biggest or most important to you project that you've worked on?
That's a really tough question. The most important? I mean, the biggest project I've done is obviously Halloween Kills.
Of course.
Like that, being a part of that franchise is huge. It was my wife's like favorite horror franchise growing up, so for her it's like really cool.
That was Danny McBride's too, his version of that, right?
Yeah,
that's cool. He's kind of become like a local hero here too. I love his comedy.
I've gotten to work with Danny a few times now. Actually.
Yeah, I would love to just meet him. Like one of my top 5 like funniest people I'd like to just hang out and sit at a bar with.
He's pretty cool. I like Danny. A lot. He keeps killing me and stuff, but it's great.
What's your most important? That was kind of like a 2-part question.
Most important role
To you.
To me. I mean,
And the biggest also to you.
yeah. It's tough. Like the Halloween things, the Halloween franchise, and getting to do those movies has meant a lot to me. It was really cool. Getting to go to conventions on the other side of the table was one of my like career goals, and so I kind of got to check that off the box. And like getting to do that movie was how we got to buy our house and all this other stuff. It's been a really important milestone in my career to get to do that.
Now you do some directing and stuff too. Do you direct a lot of theater stuff mostly, or have you directing films as well?
I do both. I work at the College of Charleston as a adjunct professor there. I teach playwriting and acting, and I've directed a few plays there. I mean, I've directed plays elsewhere as well, but that's where I've been working most recently. And then, I've directed 2 short films. How Many Times is one of them, and What a Beautiful Wedding is the other one. And I just directed my first feature film this summer.
And that's called, what is it
Tonight
called?
and Maybe Tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
And that'll be out sometime next year. It's in the process. We're in post, and we've got lots of work to do.
Yeah, that takes the longest.
Yeah,
we got lots of work to do, but I'm very excited about it. Getting to do that.
Was that shot locally?
We shot it here in Somerville, actually.
Oh, awesome.
We rented out the South Porch Artist Residency. They were lovely enough to let us rent their house for 2 weeks and film there. So it was great. We had to do it like right in the middle of the storm, like the big tropical storm that hit in August, like beginning of August.
Yeah.
So we had to like shut down for 2 days and like pick back up. But we had an incredible team, an incredible cast. I'm super excited for people to see that next year when it's done. I don't know. As far as like my most important, I mean, like I said, the Halloween ones have meant a lot to me. All the stuff that I've done with another local filmmaker in town, Michelle Antoinette, like she has Octopunk Media, and we've done.
I follow her. Yeah,
all those films and stuff, and all of that stuff has been really important to me because I've gotten to work with really cool people, and Michelle's one of my best friends, so that's been super exciting to like do all that stuff. And like we built this whole community that like kind of got us through. We started in 2019, and that community has become a big reason that we got through the pandemic working with hang out with everybody, and we got to go I got to go to Europe to go meet a bunch of them, and that was really fun. So
cool.
that work has also been some of the most important stuff I've ever done.
I went to a premiere, I want to say a year ago, of a Halloween short you did with I think it was Justin Mosca. Was it Death Note? Was that the name of it?
Yeah,
you acted in that one.
I acted in that.
That was great, man.
Michael Whaley's Death Note?
Yeah, I love that. We actually it premiered at the Old Charlie Theater. They did like a Halloween night there.
Yes,
and that was really cool, man. I was like, it's cool when you see people pop up in films that you didn't expect. You're like, oh yeah, I've worked with him. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, Michael Whaley's been one of my best friends since we worked together at Blockbuster back in the
His
day.
work, his work's really good too. I like his
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, he has a free pass. He knows that anytime he's doing something, he's like, "Hey, can you do this weekend?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, sure." Like I'm there for you, bro.
So is horror your genre? Like, is that your strong suit?
It's so funny that like horror has become this like linchpin in my career
Right.
because for a long time it was a genre that I wasn't even like into as a fan. My favorite horror movies as a kid were the Scream movies, like that franchise is incredible.
That scarred me as a kid.
Oh, I love those movies.
I watched it way too young.
Yeah.
That was one of those life moments where my mom was like, "I'm gonna let you watch it, but don't cry about it." I should have never watched it. I think I learned the hard way.
Oh, I loved them. From the time they came out, and I was a big fan, and still am actually a big fan of those movies. And then I then just found like horror the early 2000s, like the push to like the sort of Saw like torture porn stuff and all of that, like and like ghost stories. Like the one thing I can't suspend my disbelief about is ghosts. Like the minute a movie is like it's a ghost, I'm like, well, it's not a ghost. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
So I kind of got out of horror for a long time and like didn't like it as a genre, and then I started to come back to it in the mid to late 2010s, right as my career starting to pick up, and at the same time, like horror, I get into the Halloween movies. When I was writing What a Beautiful Wedding and wanting to tell that story of like, it's really weird that like people get married at plantations, and I want to make a movie about how messed up that is. And
It's trying to make something beautiful out of something so
like
they're
and when I went to write it, when I sat down to write it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a ghost. Like, of course, this is going to end up being a ghost story. It's going to be a horror movie. And so horror has become this genre that has, I've been so totally tied to and has, defined my career in a way that is completely surprising. Like if you told me in college, hey, you're going to be a guy who like the horror genre is going to be most of your career, I would have been like, go away, get away from me. Don't talk.
I feel like it's so big in film too, though. I feel as a DP, man, I turn down a lot of horror stuff. I'm just not I don't watch it as much, so I don't really study the techniques, like the jump scares and the shots, and I get dragged into it a lot too. Like I do a lot of horror shorts, and I'm like, it's not. I like drama. Like
I like drama too. I mean, I come from the theater, so my drama is sort of my forte. Like that's kind of what I've done most of my training, and a lot of my theatrical work is drama. But I also do comedy. Like I do comedic theatrical work as well. I just did a run of the play Fat Ham, which is a comedy.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and that show is just a straight comedy. And
I saw a picture of you. You were like on the couch, and you were like this. It was funny.
what theater? What theater, y'all?
I work at Pure Theater downtown.
Downtown. Is that the old 99 or no?
No, so we are in the Cannon Street Arts Center.
Okay.
And we've been in that space since 2019.
It's amazing how many like theaters look like, because we have the Old Trolley Theater, you have Somerville, Flower Town Theater, you have
Footlight Players, you've got
Theater 99.
Theater 99, you've got Charleston Stage. We used to have more before the pandemic.
It's cool how the
Threshold
arts
of that,
community,
threshold,
especially like in Somerville and Charleston, is getting the recognition. Like I feel like we've always been an artsy, like the Low Country in general as a whole has been so artsy, and it's really cool to see these theaters. And even a shout out to Old Trolley, man, they bring that like New York Comedy Club feel to it. Like a lot of my friends do stand up there, and it's really cool to see the theater grow. Because I went to an art school in middle school and stuff and studied arts, and theater was really big. So
back to your film. What's the genre on that?
Which one? Oh, my new feature.
Not today, but tomorrow.
Tonight and maybe tomorrow.
Tonight.
It's a sci-fi drama.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a character study about a bunch of people who the world's sort of ending. They think they're pretty sure the world's going to end overnight, and so it's a bunch of people who don't really have anywhere else to go, having a party, like just sort of hang out at this house, and it follows one guy who's there, kind of avoiding this big conversation that he needs to have in his life, but he links up with this girl that he has always had a crush on. She's always kind of had a crush on him, and so they basically use this party as their one and only date.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like sci-fi is the next zombie genre. I'm not gonna like. I'm producing a sci-fi series right now. I have another one that I'm writing. I'm trying to get green lit. I feel like sci-fi 2025 is going to be sci-fi year, especially with Dune Prophecy hitting.
Well,
Dune and
I like Dune.
sci-fi and horror are the two genres that I think are always going to be the two big indie genres because they are where, like, you know, if somebody has, you know, thematically, there are no two stronger genres than sci-fi and horror. Like, if you're looking to explore a theme or explore a concept or, like, you know, talk about something bigger, then you're going to make a sci-fi movie or you're going to make a horror.
It's a great low budget genre.
It's also a great genre
until you
for
get to post, but like,
right, yeah.
It's something that you can tell a story or jump scares, and you don't need $1 million. And I think that's why it's so big.
I mean, that's why horror is as big as it is, particularly in the indie sphere, is that, like, you need to make blood, you need to make, you know, some effects. But, like, as far as genres go, you're going to make a horror movie before you make anything else. And if you know, and a horror movie is going to stand out in the way that, like, you know, you could make a drama, but
it's like it follows a certain storyline that everybody already can read.
Right, and you don't have to, you know, rely as much. You can rely on the effects. You can rely on the camera stuff. I'm not trying to say that, like, if you don't know how to write, you can do a horror movie. But, like, you know,
it's true.
But, like, a drama, like, you know, the script has to be completely solid. The acting has to be really good. Like, but, like, as a filmmaker, horror and sci-fi are the genres that are so driven by the technical side, and in a way that, like, really does show off and really becomes, like, with no money you can be very flashy.
And to relate to that, like, my favorite horror film is The Strangers, and I think it's like the worst story plot of all time. Like, they just end it with, you know, why is this happening? They're like, oh, you were home.
I actually really like that ending,
dude.
I think that's a brilliant
loved it.
ending.
I thought it was great. There's great jump scares, great drama, suspense, the whole thing, and then it was just enough ending because you don't know why they're being hunted.
But there's also not that much of that story, right? Like, that's a pretty easy, not easy, but
imagine
that's a pretty,
pitching
like,
that.
simple script, right? Hush is another one that I really like, which is like, these are simple scripts that, like, aren't, you know, you're not having to be, you know, you could write that script in, like, a week or two and make that movie, right?
I picture them pitching that in a studio. Like, so what's it about? Well, it's 3 people. They knock on the door and they're trying to kill this family. Well, why are they doing it? Oh, because they were home.
Yeah, they're just doing it. There's
all right,
no
shoot
real
it. Here's 10 minutes.
I mean, look, that's I like that. I mean, I think one of the things that makes certain horror things scarier is that you don't really have an answer. The minute you answer something, I think the audience is
I think taking cell phones out of the story too.
You've let them off the hook.
Yeah,
you know, once you give an answer, you've now, like, helped.
Yeah,
because no answer makes your imagination run wild. An answer, like, oh, okay, I don't have to lose my mind about
I do feel like
this.
you have to allude to the answer though. Like, you can't just leave it. So I think of what is it? It's Paradox. It's something Paradox.
Inception?
No, I love Inception.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That was probably one of the best movies. That and The Matrix are probably my 2 favorite movies. Like the first Matrix, not the other ones.
Sure.
But it's just the fact of, like, I don't want to be left completely in the dark.
It's giving you enough to just keep going.
Just keep my interest somehow, you know? Like, don't let me wonder too much.
That's
because
where
then I'm going to just go left.
You like being like where you're the audience, or like you feel trapped with them, that suspense, the heavy breathing sound effects. And we were talking, saying about the cell phones. Like, I love period pieces, like pre-90s, because I feel like now in modern world problems, it's like you just pick up your phone and call the police. You pick up your phone, call a cab, call an Uber. So if you see these films that are like 1984 that just came out a few months ago, right? It's not out long, but those films where it's like kids taking a bike down a dirt road, like they can't just pick up their phone and get out of a situation. So I love stuff like that where you can really relate to the character.
So what's your favorite movie all time? Like, any genre?
Park.
Oh, yes.
Say it again?
It's Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park?
It's Jurassic Park.
Why?
I have 4 T-shirts I wear, and all 4 of them are Jurassic Park shirts.
That is
It's
true.
Jurassic Park, my favorite movie of all time.
It's the best franchise of all time, better than Star Wars.
Nope, it's not. It's not a good franchise.
It's
not
better
a good
than it's
franchise.
better than
actually
Star-
not.
And I'm being very clear.
The first 3.
Jurassic Park is my favorite movie
one.
of all time, and I don't really want to talk about the rest of the franchise. I was 7 years old when that movie came out. It was the first movie that I told my parents, like, hey, we have to go see this opening night. I don't want to miss we have to see it. I think we were out of town at the time, and I was still like, we're going to the movie theater. I'm seeing this opening night. And after I saw it, I was like, I don't know that I really understand how they did this, but I want to do this. Like whatever this is, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life.
That's dope.
Because it's of all the movies, and I've seen a lot of movies. Of all the movies I've ever seen, Jurassic Park I think is the most. It's just the best example of what I love about movies. It is, you know, we talk about movie magic or whatever.
It's imagination.
There's no better example of movie magic than dinosaurs. And dinosaurs that to this day still hold up visually. It's a perfect crossover between like using computers and using practical effects. And now all of the digital effect dinosaurs, I'm like, 2 years later, I'm like, well, that looks terrible. And everything before it looks looks terrible, but it's perfect.
Yeah, the animatronics setup is really cool.
That
was Spielberg, right?
Yeah.
So he did with Star Wars too. I really like the models, like when he was shooting all the ships with like models, the actual animatronic, like you said, the crossover of practical and CGI. Then was just
love
peak
older
cinema.
movies now.
But it's not even just that. It's like Jurassic Park is, you know, when it comes to writing, like there's no, I mean, there are really good movies out there that do this, but like Jurassic Park is a perfect example of how you use characters to support and argue a theme. It is like, it's just such a fun movie. It's a smart movie. It's my favorite adaptation. It's my favorite sci-fi movie. It is the best movie I've ever seen in my life, and I love it, and I watch it all the time, and I teach about it, and I don't want to talk about the rest of the movies. I don't really want to talk about the rest of the movies.
I kind of want to chime in
one.
though. The third one with the Stegosaurus and the Nokia phone is probably the most iconic moment. No, when they hear the phone ring.
They hear the phone and they come in.
That's the third one.
Like, that's the third one, yeah. The Jurassic Park 3 is a bad movie with some very memorable moments and is awful. Like, The Lost World is an okay movie with some real silly stuff in it, and I don't want to talk about any of the ones they've made after.
Yeah, after 3, it's
I just don't want to do that. But yeah, that's my favorite movie. I mean, and I love movies. I watch a lot of stuff. I typically keep up with, you know, most of the new movies that come out in a year, and you know, I'm constantly going back and watching old stuff. Jurassic Park's my number one. 1A would be Boogie Nights because it's my favorite movie by my favorite director. I'm a Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I love all of his movies, and Boogie Nights is the first movie that I remember watching and going, oh, there's a difference between like really well-made movies and just movies. Like that was Boogie Nights is probably the first time that I watched a movie and went, oh, I get what people mean when they are like movies and films.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
And it was I fell in love with Boogie Nights right as I was about to start going into college, and like right as I was looking at all that stuff. I'm going into high school, and that was a movie where I was like, yeah, no, this is different. Like this is a different kind of movie. It's smarter. It's all it is, all the things. And so those are my 1 and my 1A, but it's Jurassic Park's my favorite movie of all time.
What did you go to college for? Did you go to college for theater?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Cool. My focus was acting and directing. Well, I'm acting and playwriting, actually. Yeah, but yeah.
So besides acting, who are you? Like, you know?
Besides acting, I am I'm just a big nerd, man. I'm like, you know, I play I'm a big video gamer. I'm a big gamer.
Do you live stream it?
No, I'm not a streamer. It's too much. It's just too much. It's a lot to do and to like keep that going. And I don't watch streamers. I'm not a big fan of watching other people play video games. I kind of want to sit and play them. And I don't play, you know, some of the things that are like, I guess more like a lot of stream culture is like, you know, multiplayer games like, you know, Fortnite and Apex Legends shooters. And you know, Call of Duty and that kind of stuff. And those are the kind of games I actually don't really play. I want games that are either going to provide. I'm narrative first. I'm a big storytelling guy. So if I'm playing a video game, I like single player story driven video games. But I also like I'll play a game that's like, oh, this is a really good like puzzle game, or this is a really good like challenge thing. Like, you know, platformers are really cool and stuff like that. And,
what about Zelda?
Yeah, I like Zelda. I'm not a huge Zelda fan because I actually don't think they tell stories very well.
They don't. They really don't. They don't. But I did love the story.
The
of
Zelda
it. Like,
games
the story
are all,
mode at least.
The
you know,
Zelda
the
games are all
challenges.
they're all world over story, and I don't mind
Right.
that. I don't mind that. I like them well enough. I played Tears of the Kingdom last year. I thought it was good. I really got into talking about story, like world over story. I've really gotten into like the From Software games in the past 2 years. So like Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, like that stuff. I've been really coming around to.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really tell very good stories either, but the world around it is the storytelling it does, and I'm starting to like appreciate that a little bit more. But like this year, oh god, like I'm playing Black Myth Wukong. I'm playing Metaphor Refantasio right now. Yeah, so
I'm sorry, you're speaking a foreign language.
No, it's
to me,
fine.
but you know,
Someone
I
out
like
there is
it.
gonna understand what I'm
I'm
saying.
Yeah,
digging it.
I was gonna say,
I'll play the new Dragon Age at some point. My wife's currently going
are
through
you
it.
playing PC games? Are you are you on console?
I actually play a little bit of everything. I'm playing Metaphor and like that I'm playing on my PC. But like, I played Black Myth on my PlayStation 5. I'm playing Dragon Age on Xbox. Like I play everything. I play
check them
Switch.
out.
Okay.
I'm a gamer, man. Like,
I see your WrestleMania
I'm a
thing. What's
huge
going on there?
wrestling fan too. That's
that's
the other
another
thing
part
that
of
I
you?
am,
Okay.
yes. Huge wrestling fan.
Have you ever thought of being a wrestler?
It was
though?
the job I wanted for a long time.
I could see it. You're so animated.
It was the only job I
see
wanted
it
for a
too.
long time.
Yeah, dude.
I gave up on it senior year of high school because I was just like, oh, I'm not tall enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio is shorter
Listen,
than us. What do you
legend.
Yes, Rey
Yeah, that's what I'm
Mysterio
saying.
is a legend, and he's
It's
shorter
1, 2,
than
3
us.
kid too,
But
right?
he was the exception at the time.
True.
And what I didn't know,
It's not true.
well, no. What I didn't know was if I had gone to high school 4 years later, I absolutely would have been a wrestler. Because by the time I got into college and was like going through all of that is when the days of people like, Bryan Danielson and like like AJ Styles, like the run of like smaller, like guys really didn't start until the mid 2000s. And I was already like, I'm out of it. I'm just going to do this acting thing. But if I had been 4 years younger, there's no question.
I don't want to be the guy to ask your age, but when were you born?
I'm 38, so I was born in 86.
Okay.
Oh, you're right
So,
there,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. Like I had just missed it, and like Charles, the other thing is there's no training here in Charleston, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go
Dude,
do an
as a
actor.
90s kid, I can contest all my friends in the neighborhood. We had that trampoline. We had
Sure.
the pads
Oh,
around the
everybody did
side.
it.
We
Of
had
course, we did
intro
it.
music. We were, dude, we all wanted to be wrestlers.
You're talking to the guy in the neighborhood who ran the promotion.
Yes.
Like I was
Flyers.
The guy,
That was me, man.
I'm the guy
We
booking
did
the
it.
matches. Like I've always been in. In fact, one of my best friends from high school is Cole Maccabee. Shout out to him. He's up in Columbia, Lexington, but like he went and was a wrestler and is he's retired now, but like he's been a wrestler. He's been a promoter. He was running Pro Wrestling Union for a couple of years, and I actually got to do color commentary for a couple of their shows, which was really cool. It's like, oh, thank you for letting me.
Dude, I feel like you like live every 90s kid's dream, like right there. Like you all thought about it. We all thought about being a wrestler, but no one, you actually were thinking about really pursuing
I
it.
wanted to do
That's,
it, yeah.
that's so cool.
You talk about one of my favorite projects and the most important projects. Like I did a play a few years ago. There's this great play by Christopher Diaz called The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity. It's a play about professional wrestling and how it uses stereotypes, like it uses racial and American stereotypes to like do its storytelling. And I got to play a wrestler in that play.
Which one?
A fictional wrestler they made up for the play. So, but a luchador, right? So I have the mask and everything. And we did it at Pure Theater. This was when we were on King Street. And so the first day, like we're rehearsing the show, and they bring in a wrestling ring. Like that's the set. And so we got some guys from the upstate to come down, build this thing, and to train us. So the first day, right, for rehearsal, that they got the ring in there. I walk in and I just look at the thing. I just drop my bag and I'm just staring at this wrestling ring, like about to start crying. Like
It's like every moment.
boyhood dreams are coming true, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here staring at the thing, and finally I'm like, can I get in it? And our director's like, yeah, of course, you have to. And I like get up, I climb into the ring, and I'm just standing there. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a real
Hear the
wrestler.
crowd
Oh my
and
God.
all the lights.
And then
You don't even know which move to do first. You're going straight to the top
I'm
rope.
just panicking. So then I'm like, so then they're like, okay, so we had, director had talked to the wrestlers about what we're supposed to be doing, and we had to take moves. Like, we had to do a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, all right, so who's supposed to be taking the power bomb? Because we have to do a power bomb.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the characters' main moves, and they have to like do it every time, right? So I'm like, I'm supposed to take it. It's me. I'm the guy who takes it, right? So then, so they're like, okay, cool, come here. And one of the wrestlers just grabs me, sets me up, and it's just like, all right, so he was like, the coach was like, he's gonna pick you up. You just need to like do a sit up about halfway through it, and you'll get all the way up. That's it. That's all he told me. So I'm like, okay. So then the guy's like, all right. And he just grabs me and puts me up in position and gets me up there. And then he goes to the guy who's supposed to be doing the move for me and gives him a bunch of notes. Like, tells him,
So you're just held up.
I'm
in
just
the
being held
air.
up here by this wrestler. And he's giving the other guy, the other actor, like, here, you got to do this. You want to do this. When you're holding him up here, you want to do this, blah, 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 blah. So then he gives him all those notes. And the guy's like, okay, all right, I think I can do that. And then finally the coach just turns to the wrestler holding me and just goes, all right, drop him. And it just threw me to the ground, like threw me to the mat.
Does it? I always wondered that because as a kid, of course, growing up watching wrestling and everything, Bret Hart was my
boy.
favorite. Well, first it was Razor Ramone because he has the same name as me.
Sure.
Whatever. But anyways, I always wondered, does that hurt?
Yes.
Okay.
It hurts every time. What's crazy is it hurts every time. You just get used to it. Like, that's what it is.
Sorry.
Is that it? Oh, you're fine. Like, it hurts. You just get used to it.
Yeah,
So then,
dude.
like, they just he just power bombs me. They had told me how to bump before that, right? But like, that was it. Like,
You said how to bump.
yeah. So basically,
that?
how you
How to fall.
Okay.
What the fall is, right? So it's flat, tuck your chin in, like you want your arms to spread out. It helps make the sound, and it like spreads disperses the impact,
yeah.
right? So then they power bomb me down, and I'm just laying there, they kind of knocked all the air out of me, but I'm also laughing.
Do you know which wrestler it was that did it? Was it just like a stand-in guy?
It was it was a local guy, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. But one of the wrestlers who came and trained us, and I actually have a video of it, is his wrestler name is Kevin Phoenix.
Okay.
And in fact, he like used to work at my daughter's school. So like I was dropping her off, and it was like the first day, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I work here." And I was like, "Oh my God."
He's
I
a
love you."
school teacher by day.
Yeah.
And the wrestling
wrestler
superstar
at
at
night.
night.
Shout out to Kevin Phoenix. He's a good friend. But yeah, they just did the power bomb to me, and I'm sitting there laughing, and they were like, "Are you okay? How was it?" I was like, "It was."
Can we do it again?
Well, and then he was
Yeah.
like, "That's the thing." He was like, "Yeah, great, cool, get up, do it again." So then they just power bombed me again, and then they tagged out and let the other guy start doing it. So then I just kept getting power bombed for like an hour.
All I picture is Tap Out. Remember the show? I don't want to say the first part, but remember Tap Out where they were training all of them to be
Yeah.
the next superstar, and you're like, oh, dude, what I would give at 10-year-old me to get on that show.
I went home that day and like collapsed into because like once I got home, my body was like, "Oh yeah, you can't move," and
Yeah,
like
right.
just,
Still
like,
an adult.
collapsed, and like woke up the next day and I was like, "I'm so sore. Everything hurts." But like really, the thing that hurts the most is hitting the ropes.
Really?
Yeah, because they're tight. They're pulled
yeah,
tight so
yeah.
that you bounce off of them, but it hurts. Like it bruises you
Yeah.
when you start doing it, and then again, you just sort of get used to it.
Okay. All right.
What's your favorite wrestler? Who's your favorite wrestler?
Now or
Just of all time.
of all time, it's.
Or now, whatever's easier.
I mean, my favorite wrestler growing up was Bret Hart. And my favorite wrestler now, my current, who's my current fave? It's maybe Carmelo Hayes. I like Carmelo Hayes a lot.
I haven't been following it a lot. I catch it at the gym on the treadmill a little bit, but yeah, I grew up with Jeff Hardy and
Sure,
Rey
yeah, the
Mysterio,
Hardys are great,
and then
the
Dudley
Mysterios.
Boys, and
I mean, I love the New Day. I love the Usos.
Kane,
Roman Reigns
Undertaker.
is on the best run anybody's ever had these past 4 years. Like the Bloodline stuff has been just top tier storytelling.
I'm a Stone Cold Steve Austin
Yeah,
fan.
I
I'm
love Stone
sorry.
Cold.
Like, it's just the disrespect for me. Like,
I get it.
I love it.
he's just
I
the
get
bad
it.
guy.
I love it.
People love the bad
I
guys.
get it.
Same with Undertaker and Kane. I really like their storyline for the
Mm-hmm.
90s era. And
One of the best wrestlers honestly, I don't think he ever really lost too many matches, or if I'm not mistaken, any at all. Goldust.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Goldust
Like-
has lost a ton of matches. You mean Goldberg?
No, Goldust. Well, Goldust.
Yeah.
He lost. I don't think
Goldust-
I've ever seen an episode where he lost.
Goldust loses matches all the time. He lost matches all the time. He's still wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, he's still wrestling.
That's cool.
And his little
Wow.
brother, Cody.
I don't.
So Goldust is Dusty Rhodes' son.
Wow.
And he has another son,
Did not
Cody.
know that.
And Cody is the current WWE champion.
So
Interesting.
he's still in it.
Oh, yeah, Goldust.
I would have never thought this podcast went down this route.
Yeah,
wrestling?
I'm wearing my
Yeah,
WrestleMania
yeah.
hoodie.
I'm excited over here. I feel like a little kid, man. I remember when that N64 game came out, WrestleMania 64.
Yes.
Look, I mean, if you want to talk about like career goals, like as an actor,
No,
like,
I think we can stay on
well,
wrestling.
no, I'm saying like one of my career goals is like I kind of gave up being a wrestler at a certain point because I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen for me. But I've always been like, people are like, do you want to be famous or do you want to be a big star? I'm like, no, I just want to be a working actor. That's all I've ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine. Like, I want to be one of those people who's like, do I know you from something? But I'll take slightly more fame, but only so that WWE will let me come in and do a celebrity angle.
that would be cool.
That's the
Let's
only
do
thing
it.
I
Let's
want.
make that
Let's
happen.
make it
dude.
happen.
I want
for
like
real.
one TV show so that WWE, so that my agents can call WWE and go, Michael Smallwood will come
What
in
if
and do
you're like a
something."
staged fan that just goes
Yeah,
deranged?
I'll take
Oh
a
yeah,
punch.
dude, that'd be awesome.
I'll let a villain can put me through a table. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Ladder match, dude. You got to get
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
ladder.
I really want to pull. I just want to do. I want to do what Freddie Prinze Jr. did, which is like show up as a celebrity and get to do a thing on TV, and then just talk them into letting him work behind the scenes for years and never leaving.
Just dude, you could do a commentator. Like you said,
That's
the color
right.
commentator for that would be fun
That's
too.
what I want to do. I want them to bring me in as a celebrity for one episode, and then just be like, "Yeah, I'm not leaving, guys."
Do they still break the commentator tables?
all the time?
Oh yeah, like every episode.
Yeah, I
every
want to come
episode.
in. I want to have them put me through a table. I'll work a SummerSlam match or a WrestleMania thing.
I
or
just
do a
dreamed of
host,
pulling that ladder out from underneath the
and
ring,
then I'm just not
dude.
going to leave. I'm going to stay forever.
So when did you? I know you said at 7 years old when you when you saw Jurassic Park, but when did you know, or what was the first thing, or what was the actual project that you knew? You know what? I'm pursuing this. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm good at. This is what I love doing.
Was there like an aha moment?
Aha.
I mean, I've wanted to be an actor ever since. So in second grade, our class was going to do a play, like a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer play for like the whole school. And our teacher was like, okay, well, I don't remember who this kid was, but there was a kid who was like he was a bigger. I was a little skinny little thing, and there was a bigger kid, and they were like, he's gonna be Santa Claus, and I remember being like, wait, no, I would like to play Santa Claus, and so our teacher had to have auditions for Santa
Make
Claus.
them work for it, dude.
And I got the part. Like I got to play Santa Claus. They had to tie 2 pillows to me because I was really tiny. And I've wanted to be in front of people performing ever since. Okay. So, I made the decision. I knew in high school that I was going to pursue this. Like it was never really a question for me. Like I said, the only question was, if I get any taller, am I going to try and be a professional wrestler, or am I just going to be an actor?
Okay. So it was acting and wrestling. Those were the two.
Those are the things that I didn't want to do anything else besides those two things.
What would you say to an upcoming actor? Like, how do you get started? Is it an agent? Do you invest in yourself? Like, what would you tell an actor just getting started to like kind of get into some of these films?
The advice I would give them is that it is, there is no path, right? There's no one path. Everyone has a different path to it. And, people will say like, how do you get your foot in the door? And I'm like, it doesn't matter how you do that, but also it's a building. So if you can't get your foot in the door, find a window or find another door, because it's a building with a ton of doors and a ton of windows. And it really doesn't matter how you get in. Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
Like once you're doing this, you're doing this. So that would be the advice I'd say. I would be like, find your way in. My path in was like I went to college for it. I studied acting. But I also, you know, I looked for opportunities outside of that. My first film gig was as an extra on Army Wives in its first season, because a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you want to?" I just found out we can sign up to be extras for this Army Wives scene. You want to go do it? And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Mm-hmm.
I think Army Wives was a big opener for people.
Exactly.
Army Wives and
In Charleston, yeah.
and Mr. Mercedes. Those were two of the OG.
Yeah, those were
films.
like the first two big TV shows that we had here, and then you know, I would say that it's that's what it is. I mean, you find those opportunities, you make those connections, like figuring out what your local scene is. But the other big piece of advice that I always kind of give people is that, like, you have to have a clear understanding of what it is you're going for. I have never looked at the industry from a like, oh, I want to be, you know, I want to be a movie star, TM, air quotes, because that's not really what I'm in it for. Like, I'm not in it to be, because being in this to be rich or famous is vague and meaningless, right?
Yeah.
I've had very specific goals. So, you know, I very specifically was like, I would like to, like, I want to sit behind a table at some point and sign autographs. I want, you know, I would like an action figure. I want someone to draw fan art of me. I want to be in an HBO project. I want to be in a
Do you have
film
an action
project,
figure
stuff like that.
from
I don't have an
Halloween
action
Kills?
figure yet.
Oh, I was going to say, dude, where can I get this? This is awesome. I'm going to have to get you signed one.
But what's interesting, what's important about that is, because it doesn't matter how you cross those things off. It's just that you cross those things off. So my, you know, I got fan art not because of Halloween. I'd already had fan art from the Octopunk stuff that Michelle and I do.
Yeah.
So I got to cross that off. You know, the Halloween stuff let me sit behind the table at the conventions. I got to cross that off, right?
I think as an entrepreneur, just having those clear-cut goals, that's something I've been doing the last few years.
Goals,
Like, even with my business, like, I have, like, just equipment goals listed out. I have, like, project goals. Like, I'm still trying to get on a HGTV or Lifetime or Hallmark, but I've gotten to knock out a few reality TV. We just did the Drew Barrymore show. That was something really cool. That's like a late night type. That was something. These are all different things too, and I think a lot of practices and, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just
repetition.
Not just repetition, but just like those clear cut things that every entrepreneur and artist that are successful do. Like
milestones.
Those milestones and habits of successful people. I really feel like people can manifest their own destiny, their own things, and writing it down, and really, like you said, being true to it, being true to the steps. You don't write down, I want to be a famous $1 million superstar, but if you're true to your steps and your goals, you'll get there.
Well, because also our industry there are so many levels to it.
Right.
You know, most people have the understanding of being an actor as you are either one of the 20 people I've heard of.
Yep.
Movie stars, or you're like struggling and you're just you don't actually work in the industry. And the thing I'm always pointing out is that no, there are a bunch of middle ground. There's a ton of middle ground, and like that's what our whole strike was about. Is that like it's protecting the middle ground, right? Those 20 people you've heard of don't need the new SAG contracts.
Yeah, they're pretty much set.
Yeah.
But me, your boy's one of the people that those contracts are for. So that was always a big thing of making sure that you have that list, because also, you know, it is an industry. Careers are long, and you know, projects are, you know, come here and here, and it is very easy to get discouraged. And I always tell people that, like, having a list like that you can cross off and look back is how you remind yourself that, like, you're successful because you've crossed off these things in your list. Like, you know, I wanted to be able to like do an acting job that paid for my house, right? And that I got to do that. I got to cross that off the list. I got to, you know, I got to like travel because of this work, and like, you know, I got to go overseas to do this, right? Those things are cool, and I keep updating it, right? I'm not done. I still don't have an action figure. A fan did make me a pop figure though.
That's cool.
Like someone made me a pop figure.
Like the actual, like,
it's not an official.
Oh,
It's not like a Funko one,
Okay.
but a fan made me straight up like a pop figure. It's
That's
like
cool.
sitting on my thing.
We need to get one of those made too.
It's really nice, right? Like someone gave it to me. That's really cool. No, I think that kind of stuff is is really important, because then you have those milestones, you have those successes to look back on and be like, these are the things I wanted to do. I'm doing them.
I think too, for actors and like filmmakers myself, I think keep an open mind on your career. Like you said, you weren't never really pursuing the horror genre. Same with me as a DP.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, my success has all come commercial, and I've kind of leaned into that. Like I used to just be like, oh, we'll do it. It pays the bills. Now I really have grown to love commercial filmmaking versus actual narrative. And I know a lot of people are the opposite. They wish they could get their foot in the door on narrative stuff. But I think same with actors. I think if you were like, no, I'm dead set, I want to be an action hero guy. Like I never want to do background. I never want to do featured background. It's like, just like you said, get your foot in the door. You may realize you like doing this. Like I have a lot of friends that are actors that just only do commercials. They love it. They love the pay. They love the reward, the quick turnaround. And I think it's just an open-minded thing. Like you said, it's if you write down your goals and don't be scared to taste life.
Yeah.
Go on set as a PA. Even if you're an actor, go take a PA job and see what the pros are doing. And one of the films we worked on, the lady that was there, Vanessa, I can't think of her last name, but man, as an AC, when I worked with her on set, I was like, this is a pro. Like she knows she's resetting for me to set my focus. Like you get to experience things on lower level gigs as an actor or a crew member that just really can change your whole mind of where you want to take with your career.
Absolutely.
No, definitely. I can chime in a little bit. I remember we had just got a certain client, and I got to do the photography for it on that project. And a little situation that happened with me personally, but after that situation, the first person who spoke to me was Sean, and he sent me a picture, and it was a photo of, that I took, and it was on a billboard, and that was one of my goals. I always wanted.
And now it's on like 160 of them in the state.
And I've always, as becoming a photographer, I've always wanted to have, something advertised, And I'm just seeing that, just to chime in on what you said, it's those smaller goals that get you to that bigger goal.
Yeah.
So with that, what's your bigger picture? Like what are you really pursuing to do with this career?
I'm doing it, man. Like I gotta say, I'm kind of doing it now. Like I still have things that I would like to accomplish, things that I haven't gotten to do yet. I update the list all the time, but I get to when I say I'm going to work, that is I'm teaching theater, I'm teaching writing to students, which is super important to me. When I say I'm going to work, I'm heading to set.
Right.
I'm heading to the theater to rehearse.
And you're a father as well too, so you have to keep up with the family time with your wife and child. You have one kid?
I have one kid.
One kid, yeah. I have a daughter myself, so that's a whole job in its own too, and keeping up with these type of.
But yeah, like when I say, I'm already kind of doing it because I don't do anything but this. I don't, I don't have I'm trying to think of what people call them. Like my students are like, well, what's your do you have like a support, like your day job or whatever like that? I'm like, no, my day. This is it.
and that's a beautiful thing to say. Like just to be able to say like I'm doing what I love to do.
But like I said, there's still things I haven't done, and things that I'm still looking for. I want to. I want to write for a TV show. I've always wanted to do that, right? I still haven't had a chance to do that. I've written pilots. I've sent them off to people and had them considered, and they haven't been picked up yet. But I've always wanted to write a TV show, so that's still on my list of things to do. Directing, right?
Yeah.
Directing movies. I got to finally do that this year. Finally direct a feature, and now that I've done it, I'm like, I really want to do this again.
Once you do your first one and you realize all the mistakes you made, you're like, gosh, I can do so much with the next one.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing when everybody jokes around, like with making movies, it's like, just do it, because your first few is that's your film school right there.
Absolutely.
Right.
I want to go back, and I realized while I was on set, I love acting. I love acting in movies. I think it's so much fun, but I think I might like directing.
That's what I was
movies
going to ask. Like actor or director, what would you choose? Like what would you rather?
I will say there is nothing I like more than acting on stage in front of an audience. I think that is that's when I'm right. Like you put me on a stage in front of an audience.
I feel like that's the pinnacle of challenge.
I've never been happier in those moments. But I loved directing this movie over the summer, and I really think I want to do that again. I was in this movie as well, and I think the next movie I direct, I don't want to be in it at all. I just want to direct it. I just want to be behind the camera. But I love writing, I love directing, I love acting. I love it all. I was a PA for American Idol.
Oh, that's cool.
While they
That's
were
fun.
in town, and I loved that. Like
You met Simon?
I didn't meet Simon.
You
Simon
didn't?
wasn't there when I was up.
Okay.
Met Seacrest.
Okay.
And a lot of the like producers and so a lot of the actual team, and that was such a cool gig. But I love all of it. So
I think PA gigs are my favorite thing to do.
they're so much fun.
To be honest with you, like one is you get to do a lot. You get to be around the talent. You get to be. I do a lot of crew PA work. And then two, you at the same time have so much less responsibility. Like there's so much less pressure.
Very true.
As I do cam op and DP and AC work and like.
Oh yeah, in it.
Yeah, so I'm in it, and then
in it.
Oh, I thought you would say in it.
No, he's in it.
No, yeah. So
He's
I do like the whole
Camera
spectrum.
Up, DP, AC,
So,
you're
like,
right there every take.
When I get to do the PA gigs, and everyone's like, "Man, you take PA gigs? I love it, dude. It's so much fun to just chill. You're just and don't get me wrong, I'm running around like a crazy person half the time, but it's not a real world problem.
But all that pressure isn't on your shoulders.
Right. Yeah,
whereas,
I'm not.
There are 5 or so.
I'm not
people,
loading lenses.
right,
I'm not.
There are 5 or so people on a set at all times who are just like. Okay.
The last thing most thing I got to worry about somebody's coffee getting cold.
Right,
We're good to
right.
go, man. But no, I do more crew PA stuff. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm more of like a underpaid AC at most times, but it's fun, dude. And you get to see stuff you don't normally see. Like when you're in camera, you're just there. Like you're only focused on this, and you have 2 people you report to. When you're a PA, man, you get to chat it up. You're sitting there having lunch with background and extras, and it's fun.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like my next, what else I want to do with the career, it's just more of that. I want to keep, elevating new talent. That's a big thing for me. I want to keep bringing up new people. So as a director, discovering people who haven't had a chance and giving them a shake, or as a teacher, right, finding, nurturing the next generation is hugely important to me, and making sure they learn the right lessons, and then, as an actor, I want more challenges. I'm always gonna start aging into other roles, and I can't wait to start playing that stuff. As a writer, I want to, improve and grow and tackle new things. Like,
are you actively involved with Rough House Productions and stuff now? You said earlier you were saying like you and Danny had worked together on quite a few projects.
I was in Righteous Gemstones.
Okay, yeah, that's right. With the house that explodes or something.
I was in Gemstones, and hopefully whatever they do next, they'll find a reason to bring me back and kill me.
I really enjoyed their projects, man.
They're great.
I've thoroughly I caught on to Eastbound and Down, and that is like one of my favorite series. That's one of my favorite series of all times. And then whenever
Vice Principals
came out with Goggins, that's his name, right? Walt Goggins. I said that right?
Yeah.
I loved it, dude. His character in that is when they burn down the principal's house. Spoiler, dude. Name an icon. That scene is just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody thought this, put it on paper, and actually did it publicly.
Well, and I love working with everybody over at Rough House too. Like, between Halloween and Gemstones, like that whole team over there are just so clever and so like laid back, and their on-set philosophy is always like, well, what's the best thing we could be doing right now? Even if it's not what we came in planning to do that day, like what can we adapt to? Can we change it? And I actually learned a lot from from my movie when we were on set this summer, like, remembering back and being like, okay, I have to figure something out. This isn't gonna work. How do I adjust this? And then remembering like, Danny and David do it, so we're gonna be okay. Like, it's not a problem.
I think that's a dream goal. I want a PA on like one of those gigs. I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
Man, well, I mean, they're saying we have no more time left.
Okay.
I could go all day, to be honest.
Yeah, man, I've enjoyed having you on.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we got to find out that you almost became a wrestler.
Right. Like
that's amazing.
That would have been dope, bro.
How many people know that story? I think that was awesome, man.
All my friends know it. Like, I feel like I anytime anybody asks like, have you always wanted to be an actor? Yeah.
Just don't look at the belts hanging in my closet.
Right.
Or the ones that aren't, they're not, well, one of them is in my closet, it's on the back, but like the 2 that are above my kitchen, like, like I don't, it's not something I hide, like,
One last question. What would your stage name have been as a wrestler?
Right. That would have
We know.
Oh, what would my wrestler name have been? It's weird. Oh, it's tough. I'm not entirely sure because, right? I guess it would have depended on where I was and what other names were. If I had to pick a name right now, I don't know. The name I always make when I'm like play wrestling video games is King Noah. That's the name I always use.
King Noah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
What?
I just put because it rings well. I don't know why I settled on that, but I did.
Every time I made a wrestling character, it was always Blaze or Mad Dog. I don't
Mad
know.
Dog.
All right. All right.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad you got to come on board, dude. I'm really
Thanks for having
excited.
me.
Yeah, hopefully
It's
we get to
great.
work together on some more projects.